Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. I'm your host, Brady Wilson. As always, I'm with my co-host, Chase Olschwanger.
What's up?
And we're back with Zac Babb.
Yes, another Babb appearance. How about that?
Yep, and we're going to be doing some, some stars, and we're going to bring him on. He's going to cry about his Astros, but it's okay. It's okay. They have one ring and one illegitimate ring. So
yeah, and I got my two. I can handle the criticism because I've got 2 World Series rings clogging my ears.
There we go. And we're going to kick it off with Zach for some Dallas Stars. The Stars have had a pretty hot start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, already. They kind of the whole thing of last year where it's like we can't win past regulation started to rear its ugly head a little bit. They got a shootout win to open the season against the Blues, and then a shootout loss against Vegas, who Vegas has not lost a game yet. They are 6-0-0. And then hard-fought win over the Ducks, a game against the Flyers that should not have been as close as it was. They had to win that in overtime, 5-4, because the Flyers had 3 shorthanded goals in that game. The Stars are just the second team since 2017 to give up 3 shorties in a single game, and yet they still somehow won in overtime, thanks to Joe Pavelski. But yeah, the only other team to do that since 2017 is the Devils. And then just a dominant win over Pittsburgh on Tuesday, and they got Toronto tonight. So it's been a nice start to this campaign.
Yeah, starting out 4-1 is definitely because we feel like a team on a mission.
Yeah,
with your only loss being to those dang Gold Knights
and a shootout.
Not
too.
to mention 2 shots hitting the post.
Yeah, in overtime of that game. So yeah, it's like
very winnable game.
You're basically a small thin slice of vulcanized rubber away from being a 5-0 team right now, and instead you're 4-0-1. Your only loss was in a shootout. It's like this is about besides that shootout loss to Vegas. This is as perfect of a start as you can get for Dallas.
So does this look like a team on him? Like, does this look like the team on? Like we were talking preseason, like they got to be like kind of like the Rangers were before 2011. Okay, we're gonna win this thing. Like, I think foregone conclusion.
I think there is because it's just you get so close, and then you've got so many young guys who are good. Even you look at Wyatt Johnston right now. That guy looks insane. He's still only 20 years old. Pavelski doesn't look anything like a 38-year-old. He's leading the team in points right now with 6. The Jason Robertson start a little slower than I think he would like. He's only got 1 goal through 5 games compared to his 46 goals or 47 goals, whatever he ended up with last year. But he's still got 4 points. That's still tied for our third on the team because he's really good at dishing the puck around. And he's on the ice for a lot of goals, too, which is, so he's helping generate offense, albeit not directly like he was last year. But again, we're 5 games into this thing. He could catch fire at any second. Right. So I think to answer your question, Brady, yes, I think there is this thing of we've, not just with this roster specifically, but I think there's this greater feeling of we've been so close over the last half decade. For the last 5 playoff appearances, they've been bounced by the eventual Stanley Cup champion. So it's like, you were that close to pulling this off. And I think there is kind of this feel of like, okay, we're, one Jamie Benn cross-check to the face of Mark Stone away from possibly winning the Stanley Cup because, Vegas throttled Florida.
And we probably would have done the same.
And you probably would have done the same. It's just you just absolutely wilted in Game 3, and then you were down 3-0, and it's just so hard to come back from that. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I think there is this, like, we're here, and the expectations are win a cup or this season's a failure.
How are the new additions looking?
Pretty good so far. Craig Smith's got a couple points already. Sam Steele's only played in 3 games, but he's got an assist. It's Matt Duchene's still looking for his first goal. He's only got 1 point, which is a little, interesting. But then you got the thing I like the most is you've actually got Nils Lundkvist in the lineup this year. He's not technically a new guy, but he just barely played last year, and we gave up a first-round pick to the Rangers to get him. But he looks really good. Again, he's kind of like Robertson, not really generating a lot of offense. Granted, he is a defenseman, but again, he's kind of like a smaller, lighter Miro in the sense of he can quarterback the defense, he can, quarterback the line he's on, and help generate scoring chances, because I think he's like a +3 as well on the season so far, even though he doesn't have any points. So it's, good early signs from these younger guys, and it's just, man, what would we be doing right now if we didn't have Ryan Suter? Save that money for someone else. So,
and I think Pete DeBoer's done a great job so far. I mean, definitely looks like a better coach.
Yeah, second straight 4-0-1 start with him at the helm. We were 4-0-1 through 5 games last year too. Yeah. So, it
definitely feels kind of like a year of destiny for the Stars.
I hope, man. It's a good time for DFW sports.
It is, and
with the exception of those stupid Cowboys, as always.
To segue that, Texas Rangers, and this is I'm sorry, Zach, but
it's all good.
I have been waiting.
Again, I got my 2 rings, or 1.5 rings.
And so the thing that needs to be remembered here is that I was born in 2004, so I do not remember 10 and 11. I was not watching Game 6, probably for good. My dad still blames my mom. He still jokes that, dang it, if you'd let Brady stay up, maybe we would have won that game. But so this is the first time for me that I can say and that I watched my Texas Rangers are going to the World Series.
Yeah. This is like me with the Stars, because, when they won in 99, and when they went back to the Cup in 2000, I was 4 in 99, really 3. I had my birthday was during the Stanley Cup, my 4th birthday. So, and then it was during the 2000 Stanley Cup against New Jersey. So I had pretty much no memory of that. I have vague memories of my dad waking me up to watch them hoist the cup. But that's it. I had no emotional investment. So when the Stars went to the Cup in 2020, it was kind of, I imagine, very much the same way how y'all are feeling, as in, like, this is cool.
Yeah. My team, I've sat through the rebuild. I've sat through a lot of very mediocre, very average baseball and some really, really bad baseball. I've seen Mike Fultonevich and Colby Allard get significant innings for this team. I have seen Andy Ibanez start a lot of games.
Or it's the same thing with me and the Astros leading up to 2017 when we made it in
100 lost seasons.
Yeah, I mean the closest we ever got was I was 10 years old when they made it to the World Series in 2005. I actually went to Game 3, the first ever World Series game played in Texas. I was in the building for that, and it was. But again, I'm 10 years old, so it's kind of like, okay, we're there. This is cool baseball. But then when we lost, I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna go play in the driveway.
I was the same way. Yeah. I mean, I was at Game 5 in 2010.
Yeah.
So like I was there.
Yeah.
I remember it. But
it's kind of the same thing. It's like when you get there and you're this wedged into it. Yeah. And I had been through 2011 through 2013 where we had 3 straight 100 loss seasons, and I'm watching Brent Wallace and Bud Norris is our best pitcher.
Oh God, I remember that. You're bringing back memories.
And so it's like I understand where you guys are coming from, because it's cool, and especially when you've watched a lot of bad preceding sporting events leading up to this.
Right, and so I think that, and for guys like my dad who are 50 plus years old, and I'm reminding him of that he's old, that he's seen a lot of baseball, and this is the 3rd time. And I've asked him, I said, how do you feel? And he's like, well, this is great, but I've seen this before. When we win it, I'll feel a little bit different. Now he goes, now I'm nervous because I've seen an ALCS before. I've seen it twice. Whatever. I am like he was then. I was sitting on pins and needles the entire series because I've never seen my team get this far.
Yeah.
At least in my it's the same thing with the Mavericks. In our lifetime, we've only seen our teams win 1 championship. And you probably remember a lot more than I do.
I mean, I was there in Game 6 in Miami. I was there.
Wow.
I was there.
Okay, you were there for the win.
My dad was like, let's hop on a plane. We were there for 24 hours. And we saw them win. I was on national TV after. It was a great experience. So I remember that. I'll never forget it. But yeah, I mean, I've witnessed 1.
And see,
1.
I was 6. I hadn't had my birthday was in July. I hadn't had my birthday yet. So I was 6. I don't remember that. I remember vague memories of Dirk hoisting the trophy. Because my dad, my dad, my mom, we all watched, them win. He's like, you don't remember? I'm like, I remember them playing the Heat. I can't tell you what game it was. I remember seeing Mavericks Heat on my screen. And I remember Dirk and all those guys hoisting the trophy. And I remember the celebration. But I don't remember anything from Game 6.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I'm really getting to experience one of my teams besides the Mavericks haven't been since
11, right?
Yeah, since
11.
The
last memories of the Mavericks you have is probably just Western Conference Finals a couple
Western
years
Conference
ago.
Finals. My happiest memory is beating the Suns. That's my happiest Mavs memory.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, that's concrete. I can remember everything. Stars, I've seen them go to the Stanley Cup, which was a lot of fun to watch, because that was what really, I had watched a little bit of hockey because I didn't really watch it before. Then my dad was like, "You should start watching hockey. It's fun." And I'm like, "This is a lot of fun to watch because it's really fast paced, but it moves kind of like football and basketball, where you're watching everything. Is really cool." And then that 2020 season was what solidified me as a big Stars fan, because getting to see that team, getting to be really excited. And my bus driver to school was a huge Stars fan. So every day, how about that game last night? 'Cause we were winning a lot of close games, and he'd be, it was really cool. This is the Rangers, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Mavs, I love the Stars.
Yeah.
But growing up, there were two sports really in my house, and it was baseball and football.
Yeah.
Mainly baseball.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same for me with the Stars run, and why, if the Stars do win a Stanley Cup this year, anytime in the near future, that'll be the pinnacle for me, because it goes, in my house, it went hockey, big drop off, and then football. Football's really grown in my adulthood with how much I've followed it.
Right.
But growing up, it was hockey, really the Stars, then the Houston Aeros, and then the Houston Astros. So, while it's been, don't get me wrong, it's been amazing to watch this 7-year run that the Astros have been on. It's still, and it does hold a really special place in my heart, because, Houston didn't have an NHL team, obviously. I went to a ton of Aeros games, but it's minor leagues at the end of the day. And Dallas, getting up to Dallas for a Stars game was a treat. I mean, that was like, my dad got a bonus at work, and we're going to the Stars game. The Astros, I went to so many games because the company my dad worked for at the time had season tickets, and the Astros were terrible. I mean, from most of my formative years, which would be kind of like, 08 to 13, really up to 15 was when I moved up here to Denton, and that's some really bad Astros teams.
Yeah, y'all were coming off Killer Bees.
So yeah, it was the end of the Killer Bees era, because 07 was kind of the last year of the Killer Bees, and then 08 and 9 is when they really started to dismantle. Well, I guess we still had Hunter Pence in 08, so 09
and you traded him in
10,
11,
and 10 was really when it started to get dismantled, and it was just like, no one wanted those tickets at my dad's office because they were so bad. So my dad scooped them up all summer, and I went to so many Astros games in those years, and they were terrible.
Yeah, but it's baseball, but it's like, ugh.
So to see him win, finally, and especially, 2017, before all the cheating stuff came out, it was like, this is the culmination of part of my childhood.
Yeah.
The only thing that's better is the Stars winning a Stanley Cup, and so we'll see when that happens.
Well, we're with you there.
Okay.
We're with you there.
And what's I made a prediction. I think it was a couple years ago. I think it was when the Rangers lost 102 games. I made a decree. I said all 4 of my teams will win a championship this decade.
Mm-hmm.
I fully, wholeheartedly believe that all 4 of my teams, and it's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Mavs looked really good, which we'll get to that after baseball here. Stars have looked like the team on a mission. The Cowboys are the Cowboys.
They always have potential.
They always have potential. They could fluke their way into one here.
And this year, and we'll get to this when we get to football, this year's like the fluke year for football, where it's like, how do you pick this team? Well, I don't know.
It's just so wide open, it feels like this year.
I feel like I could blindly pick, and I'm doing as good as I am if I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's like, because like the only team that really in football, and I'm
Eagles.
It's Philly now.
The Eagles and
the
Chiefs, and maybe the 49ers, but the 49ers just got smacked by the Browns
and the Vikings.
Yeah. So it's like, well, that's kind of out the window now.
Yeah.
So I think it's wide open. But for the Astros, and I wanted to ask you a question about the Astros, and obviously the Rangers in the World Series, to finish my point of all 4 of my teams. Dusty Baker, it sounds like he's leaving.
He is officially left. They had a press conference this morning.
And I think that Dusty, obviously I have some ill will because I do believe that it was ordered that Abreu hit Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
I will go to it was one of those, I'm putting my tinfoil hat on, and I truly will go to my grave saying I think that it was intentional to ice Leclerc and just to stop all the momentum that we had going for us.
Mm-hmm.
It worked to perfection, to give him his credit, but I can't prove it.
Yeah.
So, but he does deserve a lot of credit because he came into that situation where it was off the cheating scandal. The whole Astros organization was kind of going up in flames.
Yeah.
And
I think he was the perfect guy to take over in the aftermath of that.
Because he's very grounded.
He's
probably the most humble manager. I mean, Bochy, but Baker has a level of sincerity, I think, that some other managers don't have. Because, like, after Game 7, he was, and they're a good team. Like, we just got, he talked more about, I think, our team than his own team that. And so I have a lot of respect for him. What I love, that was the one good thing about the Astros winning, was I was happy because I felt like he was a Hall of Fame manager.
Yeah, but he just never won.
He had a
World
history
Series before.
of choking leads and choking in the playoffs.
Especially in Game 7. He's retired without having won a single Game 7 in his career.
He was, and to go even really far back in the 2000s, choked in 02.
Choked in 03.
Pulled Russ Ortiz from Game 6 with the Giants from the Angels. They were playing the Angels, and Ortiz was just dealing. Gave up a couple base runners, and he pulls him, and Barry Bonds is getting his ring and everything.
And then he's the Cubs manager for the Steve Bartman
the
incident.
Bartman game, he was there for that. And it was not Bartman's fault. Their pitching decided to implode. But he has never been able to win as a manager, and then going to the Reds and the Nationals, and he could not win anywhere he went. And so he finally could say, I have my ring, and I'm going to the he's going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
As a great manager, just you didn't want him to go to the Hall of Fame as the manager that couldn't win the big one.
Yeah.
Right.
And technically he still is, but he won the big prize. And so I think Baker came in and was a great guy, like you said, to hire because he was able to come in and extinguish the fires and keep what the Astros, dynasty. I've always thought dynasty you have to win 3, but I mean, it's
about as close as you can get without it being a dynasty.
And it's not over.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it would not shock me if the 2024... I mean, I said it at the beginning of the season. I thought 2024 ALCS was going to be Rangers-Astros. Yeah. And it turns out I was a year late, but it could happen again for all we know.
For Houston, I think the problem they're going to face is, can we replenish the big talent with these young guys?
Yeah.
Dubon looks really good. So does McCormick.
Pena kind of had a sophomore slump.
But Brantley is aging.
Yeah.
Abreu is not aging. He just was injured, it sounds like, for most of the year. And then when he was able to come off the IL, he was on a tear.
Yeah.
They're still the scariest man in baseball in Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah.
They're still Oompa Loompa, Altuve.
Yeah.
And, Bregman,
Kyle Tucker,
Kyle Tucker.
If they pay to keep him, they better.
Hopefully, Martin Maldonado retires.
Well,
for Astros fans' sake, because Yainer Diaz
clearly
if he can stop swinging at everything that comes over the plate, I think he's going to. He's still at 23 home runs.
Yeah.
Just no matter, every time I've watched him, he make a hell of a cricket player. He's swinging at crap that you would need a boat paddle to hit.
Yeah.
So I think that you guys, I think the thing that's going to hinge the Astros, what's going to be really important, is your pitching.
Yeah.
Because Verlander has one more year left of being Verlander, and then I don't know. I think he may retire after next year.
Yeah.
So then after that, who do you have? Well, Framber and Javier are really good when they're on, but the Rangers exposed when they're off, or when you can jump on them early, they're going to crumble.
Yeah.
And then you're counting on J.P. France and Hunter Brown to be the next guys, and Urquidy, and that's a nice 5. But there could be some injury problems. But there's injury problems with every pitcher.
Yeah.
The problem is, can they be consistent enough for the Astros to win, or are you guys going to need to go out and shell out more stuff for pitchers? Because you traded away Drew Waters, and another one of your top prospects for Verlander. That's where I feel like we won. 2 trades with the Mets. I felt we won because we only gave up one of our top prospects who was blocked.
Yeah.
Drew Waters is not blocked. I mean, there's going to be a hole in left field in the next year or two with Brantley. That would have been where he could go play.
Yeah.
And they traded him to the Mets, and I hope he.
And this is where this is where I'm really, really hoping that freaking who's the name of our owner?
You're what?
Who's our owner again?
I don't know your owner.
I can't remember. Jim Crane.
Jim Crane. That's right. Crane.
Yeah. I'm
right.
really hoping Jim Crane does not become the Jerry Jones of baseball, but it sounds like he wants to.
The thing is that Jerry Joneses can work. We've seen it with the Cowboys. They've been successful, not a championship successful, but they've been consistently a team that can win football games over his tenure. The problem is that there's 2 extremes. There's the Jerry Jones that can win, but sometimes you need. But then there's the Artie Morenos with the Angels that think he's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones at least will put people around him that if he starts to go off the rails, Johnny Manziel, that
someone will pull
like
him back.
Will McClay and his son can go, well, hey, why don't we go with this Zach Martin guy from Notre Dame who's going to go to the Hall of Fame as the best right guard of the 2010s.
Yeah.
And so I think but Moreno has nobody that reins him in because he hires yes men for the GM.
And then
they're never successful.
and then you have Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani as the punchline of tungsten Arm O'Doyle tweets. So,
but I think that for Jim Crane, I think if he just the Rangers have a great, I think I've talked about this, great division of labor. It's what every organization should have.
Yeah.
Owner who knows a little bit because he's been around. He's been with us for over a decade, so I'm sure he's picked up some baseball nuggets. But he just goes, why do we need this guy? Well, here's why. All right, here's the check. Right, willing to spend money, but spend it wisely.
Yeah.
A GM who knows where to spend the money, and then a manager who manages the team the GM puts in front of him.
Yeah.
Not a team that the GM, like in Moneyball, where he influences the lineups. The one part about Moneyball that I hate is because that's what's ruining baseball, is that you don't have managers manage games anymore.
Yeah. It's look at what the formula spits out.
Because that was something that, and people say that Bochy got pushed out. No, Bochy left because he knew that Farhan Zaidi wanted somebody that would be willing to do that. And if he went to Bruce Bochy and said, all right, I want you to do this, he would have thrown his 3 rings at his head and said, get out of my office.
Yeah.
I'm the manager, with probably some more choice words in there.
Yeah.
And look, John Schneider, you can't tell me that was not influenced by the guys upstairs.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, pull Burritos, the guy we're paying a bunch of money, and they pulled him, and it went awfully because anyone who knows baseball would know not to do that. But John Schneider does not have the skins on the wall to say, no.
And that's why the Giants haven't really done anything since Bochy. They've been good here and there.
But they had a really weird, 100
last year.
Season. Yeah, where they were like, look at the Giants. They just, everything kind of clicked for them.
Yeah.
Kind of like the 2013 Red Sox, where it was like, where'd this team come from? They weren't supposed to be this good right now.
Yeah.
But I think, but managers need to manage. You need the division of labor inside an organization. And see why. I'm sure he probably, hey, we're getting this guy for this specific situation. Hey, we're getting Chapman specifically to be a setup man. Hey, I'm sure he lets him know why we're doing certain things and building our roster a certain way. But I guarantee you, he's not, hey, Boch, I want you to do this in the 7th. Because he can go, no.
Yeah.
And hangs up the phone. You need, numbers are great. And Bochy is definitely, he's not an analytics nerd. But like he said,
considers them.
He says, I want all the numbers at my disposal. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with what I feel is best.
And that's where I think, and I got to get going here shortly, but I'll kind of close on this point, where I think this is what the inverse of the analytics nerd is what hurt Baker in the end.
Yeah.
Because, he was a old style manager, very well respected, but I think he went with his gut almost too much.
He has a history of that.
Yeah. And that's the thing too with in Game 6 when the bases were loaded in the bottom of the 8th for the Astros, I would have rather gut feeling lived and died with Jeremy Pena in that at bat.
Right.
Instead, they pinch hit John Singleton, who that for him was his second career playoff plate appearance. I get it that
mind game psychology.
Yeah.
This is the guy you walked last night. Don't 2 days ago. Don't do it again.
But this is like the series on the line potentially, and you're going to send up a guy who's got one career playoff plate appearance. I would have rather had Pena struck out on 3 pitches than that insane full count AB that Singleton worked only to strike out.
Right.
The thing with Singleton is if he hits a home run or a single or
that's
a walk,
the greatest story ever.
You're a genius because you played the mind games. But it's the simple. We have hindsight to say I didn't hate it, but I was like, you're gonna pull your. I know Pena's been slumping, but you're gonna pull the World Series MVP for a guy who's been clutch for Singleton who can hit. If he gets a hold of one, that's gonna go a long way.
Yeah.
And he's got good plate discipline for a man that hits a lot of home that has that much power. Obviously, but I think it was psychology. I'm gonna get Leclerc. It was kind of, you could see Leclerc was trying not to leave one over the plate, but was also trying not to walk him because this is the guy I can't walk him. I have nowhere to put him.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I think that he kind of went with his gut a little bit too much, and he kind of has a history of pulling guys or making unnecessary moves. And I go back to Game 6, 2002, when Russ Ortiz, he pulled him. Yeah. And they lost that game.
Yeah.
So he kind of has a track record of mismanaging sometimes late in games. So
yeah, and that's I'll leave on this note.
Uh-oh.
They better promote Joe Espada.
Either him or Cintrone.
One of the two. I'll take either.
One of the two, because they've always been the manager of the future. So, sir, thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate it.
We will probably, we may have you back next week or next time we need some stars stuff.
Let's talk some stars.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Zach.
Right. Back to baseball here. To kind of pivot more to the Rangers. Obviously, we want to do more Astros with Zach here, but now we're going to pivot more to our team. The happy note, Zach leaves. I think Bochy deserves a ton of credit,
Of course,
for managing this team. And I want to go back to a story, a little baseball story for you people out there. 1986, it's the greatest postseason of all time. Angels Red Sox was a hell of an ALCS. Mets Astros was a great NLCS, and then obviously the World Series Mets Red Sox was one of the most classic World Series ever. Angels Red Sox in that ALCS, so I get the story right. The Angels went up 3-1. So Game 5 was in California, and they were up by I'm probably going to butcher the story, but essentially they brought in their closer to get Dave Henderson was at the bat, and the Angels, Gene Mauch, their manager, brought in Donnie Moore, who was their closer. Tumbling forkball, had one of the amazing seasons that year, and saved like 53 games. Was just on fire that year for them. And he leaves a forkball a little bit over the plate, and Dave Henderson hits a home run, and the Red Sox go on to win that game. And so going back to Boston, it was just a deflating win, because you were one strike away from going to the World Series.
Yeah.
And then on the plane ride, it was Bob Boone was the catcher for the Angels, and he was talking to Don Sutton, the old veteran pitcher for the Angels, and Boone just turned to Sutton and said, "I'm scared." Sutton goes, "Why?" He goes, "Because sometimes when all of the air is out of the balloon, you can't pump it back up." And the reason I'm saying this is I was really nervous after we lost in Seattle, 1-0.
Yeah.
Kirby we couldn't even score a run. We couldn't score one, and their run was a fielder's choice, I believe.
Yeah, garbage.
It's a ground ball.
Yeah.
And Lowe made kind of the wrong choice and went home with it, and they scored. It was just a deflating win, and I was really nervous. Like, can we pump the balloon back up? Like, this is just a gut punch. And then they go and then Bochy, I don't know what he did. I'm sure in the documentary that'll be out in about 10, 15 years, we'll learn what he did or did not do. Maybe it was a lack of doing anything that helped, but got the team ready to play. They went out there and punched the Rays in the mouth. 2 games, we're bye. Goodbye. We're going to Baltimore. Punch them in the mouth.
Bye-bye.
Go up 2-0, come back home with that crowd, win Game 3. Go into the ALCS, you're on a hot streak. Go up 2-0 in Houston. This team, we can't lose. We cannot lose. Game 3 just kind of felt like every time we would start to come back, Young would hit a home run. The next inning, just our bullpen could not keep us in it.
Yeah.
To me, Scherzer was off the hook because he gave up 5, but we scored 5. So the bullpen, your guy Will Smith and the other guys, they lost us the game, even though Scherzer gets the L next to his name.
Right.
Then Game 4 was just a clobbering, and then Game 5 was a gut punch. I should not have been driving and watching I was listening. Should not have been driving when that happened, because I don't drive well when I'm angry. And after I punched my steering wheel a few times, it was just such a we got this, walk, home run. And it was just like, and then the next inning, the bottom of the ninth, the next half inning, you get 2 runners on with no outs. Nothing. No runs. 0. And the inning prior, when Garcia got hit, 2 runners on, no outs. Back-to-back innings late in the game, first and second with nobody out. You scored 0 runs from that. And then obviously Garcia getting hit, which I believe was intentional. And the reason I believe was intentional, and here's my case. Because I dropped my pen.
Good case.
Here's my case. Plop. It was the first pitch. It was right on him. It did not look like a fastball that got away from him.
And you saw the Brady stat line, right?
Yeah.
Like threw 100 or something fastballs during the regular season, hit 1 or hit 0. First pitch hits.
Well, he has control problems.
Statistically,
with his other pitches, he has control problems.
Yeah.
Not control problems. Hitting guys, there's a difference. And it was the first pitch, 99, right in his ribs. The guy that pimped the home run, right? So it's plausible that we hit this guy. And I believe it was, I'm not just going to say, oh yeah, Dusty Baker's a piece of crap and he signaled it and he wanted Garcia to get hurt. No one wants the guy they're hitting to get hurt. they're doing it to send a message to the team rather than hurt the guy. There's a difference, right? And I don't think his motive. I don't know if it was signaled from Baker. I don't know if it was signaled from a player. I don't know, but I do believe it was signaled from somebody, hit him, because immediately Maldonado said something.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like Garcia said something. No, it looks like to me, Maldonado, because, I mean, Garcia turns immediately. So to me, that means that, or maybe Maldonado called it, and maybe Garcia thought he called it. We don't know, but I believe it looks like Maldonado said something a second he got hit, and Garcia turns around and drives by. So it looks to me, it looks like Abreu hits him. So here's the job. Abreu, you hit him. Maldonado, you say something, because we know Garcia, he's a high energy guy. Well, that high energy, when he's happy, it goes high. When he's angry, it also goes to that same level. Yeah. So we're going to get him to fly off the handle and get a big, we're going to get a
brawl,
a play stoppage, and that's what happened. And then it's, well, why? And then Baker, this again to me lends me to believe Baker stalled. I've seen managers throw tantrums. He threw a tantrum, and every manager just called, you're getting your money's worth.
But he refused to leave. He sat there.
It's why the announcers were like, is he thrown out? I thought he was. I saw them toss him. He's just sitting there. He was stalling. It looks like a man who was just waiting as long as he could until he was forcibly, physically removed from the game, which he had to be. And why would the Astros do this? I got a reason. Leclerc had been shoving the entire postseason. He had one blemish, and it was the Aaron Hicks home run in Game 2 of the ALDS, and it wasn't. And those weren't even his runners. Those were Burke's runners.
And it was an 11-6 game, so it wasn't or 11-5, whatever it was.
We still killed him.
Yeah,
it didn't matter. He had been nails for us, and he just came out, and he's gets real hype, and he's coming off a big inning, big, where he slams the door on the Astros. And, the momentum is all in the Rangers' favor right now. Everything is going Rangers' way. Stop play, 25-minute delay. Leclerc sat there for 25 minutes, not including the time that it takes for a rally. Sit there, let his arm get cold, came in there, walked the first two batters, and gave up a home run. And it wasn't even a bad changeup that he threw to Altuve. Altuve just clobbered it. So I believe it was intentional, but we're going to get off Game 5 here. And I was worried that, going back to my balloon thing, I was worried that after that game, all the air was out of the balloon.
I think everyone was. We were texting. It's like, how do you bounce back from this?
I remember saying, to quote another baseball story here, that is probably one of my favorite stories of all time, in 2004, and I'll probably quote it again and again because I love the story. In 2004, Red Sox go down, 3-0 to the Yankees. Before Game 4, Kevin Millar, which is one of the team's ringleaders, their first baseman, was saying before game, there's a video of this, he was going to everybody, don't let us win today. And everyone was like, what? You're crazy. What do you mean don't let us win today? He says, well, tomorrow they get Petey, but they get Pedro Martinez. Game 6, they get Kurt Schilling. And in Game 7, anything can happen. So don't let us win tonight, or else we're going to come back and win the series. Yeah. You put us to bed tonight, don't give us a chance. And they obviously won that game and then he was proven right. And so I kind of felt like that before Game 6 was, don't let us win this game. Because I was like, I feel good. We have Eovaldi on the mound, and Game 7, anything can happen. They could put me out there, and I could throw 7 score. Game 7, anything, all bets are off. It's the two most beautiful words in all of sports, really. Game 7. It's just, there's something so cool and ominous and mystique. There's some, mysterious about Game 7. Ooh, it's going to be fun.
It's one game.
It's one game.
If you don't play well, you're done.
And it's not one game in the sense of football is one game. This is one game that's been building for 6 previous games.
Yeah.
Football is just one game. We're done. And so it was, I felt really good about our chances. Just, we got to win Game 6. And I felt good about it, but our offense got to bounce back, and we won. And it was just a great game. When we won that game, I just thought, we got this, I think. But I was still nervous Game 7 because I'm like, man, we got to face Javier.
Yeah.
And I really, really don't want to face Javier because he killed us last time.
He's going to kill people all postseason.
And 1/3 of an inning. Just took him out.
Bye-bye.
And I don't know if that was a good decision by Dusty or not. I can't say, oh, yeah, it was a great decision. Oh, yeah, it was a bad decision. Oh, yeah, it was. Because would I have pulled him? No, I would not have. I would have tried to let him finish the inning out. But clearly, he felt that we were seeing him, or because I mean, what he had done in Game 3 was all those high fastballs,
Right, an invisible fastball,
and we couldn't lay off of him. Well, guess what?
Seager hits at 500 feet, and
we were ready for those fastballs this time around. And I mean, the one that Garcia hit off the wall was like a foot above the zone, and he just went up there and golfed it.
Yeah.
And then he tried to pimp it, and then he was, oh crap, and he would not have gotten a second anyway. It wouldn't have mattered.
Well, I think he would have. That's why he stole.
I don't think it would have, because it was such he hit it so hard. It got to Brantley so quickly. I don't think he would have gotten a second and been safe. So, but it looks, it's a judgment call. It looks bad for you to stand at home plate and then, and then have to.
I mean, if he wasn't playing the villain,
yeah,
I think that he might have started, moving a little bit. But...
And then he stole second. So we were always forgiven, and he drove in a run, and ALCS MVP, the most runs ever driven in a postseason series, breaking Nelson Cruz's record in the ALCS. Because people forget that he almost single-handedly beat the Tigers to get us to the 2011 World Series, but people often forget that because people just want to hate on him. I mean, I don't. I am probably one of the few Rangers fans that still love Nelson Cruz.
Of course, I'm with you. I love Nelson Cruz,
and I don't blame him for losing us in Game 6. And this is quick. This is why Hamilton hit the home run the next inning. Then that renders anything that happened before it moot. It doesn't matter. Yes, he missed the ball. They were already they should have been playing no doubles. They were playing no doubles. I've played anyone that's played in the outfield. I've played in the outfield, coach pitch, but still I've played in the outfield, and the hardest ball to judge is the one hit 100 miles an hour right at you, because you don't know whether to go back, to go forward. You don't know where it's going to go. And that was hit pretty much right at him, just a little over. And I think he thought, I don't know if he thought it was going to get down because it was low. It was a low line drive. It was not high. I think it just was hit so hard. He didn't realize it was. I think he thought, exit angle, launch angle, it's going to go here. And he thought, it's going back. They were in no doubles. He just misplayed the ball. It happens. He was a good defensive player. Up to that, he really was. If you look from the defensive metrics, he was actually a pretty solid defensive player, mostly because of his arm. He wasn't that mobile, but he had a really good arm. And I don't even know if Indy Chavez, which had already, by the way, he had already been used as a pinch hitter in that game. So we didn't have him. I think Gentry had been used as a pinch hitter, so we didn't have an outfielder. And you can say that was on Walsh, but whatever. I don't blame him. I love Nelly. And to beat the Astros was just so gratifying. I don't know about you. It was just so nice to beat the Houston Astros. I'm wrong, and for the first time, I'm happy that I was wrong. I picked the Astros to win. Preseason, I picked.
Remember when we went over brackets? I had us going all the way.
Well, hey, I'll give you the props on that one, because it wasn't that I didn't think we could. It was that how do you believe in a team that's been as streaky as we have? Right.
Yeah.
And man, it was so. And I'm not ashamed to say I shed a few tears. I'll bawl like a baby if we win this thing. But I shed a few because it was just. I've been a Rangers fan my entire life, and I've seen some really good baseball, and I've seen some really bad baseball, and I've seen some really average baseball. And so finally, to not be thought of as a joke, like we're back. It was just it's so nice, and to beat your hated rival, to get there, dang, you can have the regular season. You can have, I hope you hang that banner, 2023 AL West champions. You know what I'm going to hang in my rafters, at least up to this point? 2023 American League champions. Yeah. You can have the division. Well, you can have the division. It's like when Michael Jordan said, I think it was Karl Malone, you can have the MVP. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this ring. And so it's the same thing. You can have the division. We're going to take the pennant. That's fine with me. I'll take that all day, all week, and twice on Sunday. And so for the World Series, little World Series preview here, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because the World Series, and you don't know if you're going to get back, and who knows. You don't want to waste any chances. I'm sure after 2011, all Rangers fans thought we could get back. Never sniffed it. Never got into the ALCS again until now. So clearly, you just don't know when your window is going to close.
I do think that this team and the situation that we're in right now is a little different than how it was in 2011.
No, it is. I'm not saying it's not, because Hamilton left after 12, and CJ Wilson left after 11, and so you lost some people, and the young guys you were counting on at that point just did not pan out very well. But for the Rangers, this year, obviously, we are definitely poised to win one by 2025. Evaldi, DeGrom will be, and I think DeGrom will be fine, at least Tommy John wise, because his first Tommy John was over a decade ago.
Yeah,
and he's played this long with the same body type on that UCL. So I'm thinking, can we at least get 4 or 5 years on this ligament? And obviously shoulder, flexor, there's other parts that he could hurt, but I'm completely confident in his elbow. It's just, can we be confident in everything else on his arm? I think he should walk around with bubble wrap on. That way he just doesn't.
Same with the Scherzer for another year.
Scherzer, yeah. And apparently there's a new report today that he had a blister on his thumb.
Who, Scherzer?
Scherzer. And so maybe that was something that was, hindering him against the Astros. And if that, it kind of feels like, because he had good stuff, it just wasn't as sharp as maybe you'd like it to be. And so if he can get that blister taken care of, who knows?
Put those old starts behind now. It's a new series. You had that's your rehab now.
Yeah,
that's your rehab.
You got your rehab starts.
That's your rehab starts.
And I don't know about you and I'm other Rangers fans, but we gave up Luis Angel Acuna to get him.
Yeah.
And at the time we said, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful trade because we're going to get the rest of this year and all of next year of Scherzer. To me, it's already worth it.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that we only by 2 games we made the playoffs, so every game mattered that he pitched, and we won. I think the majority of the games that he pitched, I'd be willing to bet we did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so to me, and for him to pitch in 2 games, one of them being the Game 7 that we won, and he pitched fine. 2 and 2 thirds. He gave up, what was it, the 2 runs?
2 runs.
2 runs.
Few hits.
So I was, you know what? That was about what I was kind of hoping. Could we get about 3? 1 or 2 runs, and his ERA is not going to look good, but he had the start we needed when their offense jumped, and we were fine. So to me, us capturing the pennant, fine. And I'm okay with giving up Thomas Sujasi and Takoa Roby to the Cardinals for Montgomery. It's already worth it. Even if we don't re-sign him, which I really hope we do, and I think we will, it's already worth it. All 3 of those top prospects that we gave up, we just won the pennant. That's worth it to me. Winning the World Series would make it just completely, there's no debate, it's worth it, right? So, but for the Diamondbacks, you don't want to overlook them.
No.
Because they're a good baseball team. Got a really good bullpen. They're pitching, obviously, they have we have a great pitching coach. They have a great pitcher. Brent Strom is an amazing pitching coach. I mean, you've got Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, Brandon Pfaadt has been amazing.
What a postseason start for him.
Great bullpen led by Paul Sewald, who we know from our days in Seattle and couldn't hit him when he was with Seattle. Their lineup, we have the better hitting.
For sure.
Not
I feel like
slouching on their hitting.
If you look at the CS, the LCSs, you look at how the Diamondbacks won their games, right?
They won like a boa constrictor eats.
They won off of not scoring a lot of runs, but just having that great pitching. So that that's gonna you hope it doesn't play effect in this series, but it's most likely going to. And you want to see how the Rangers can counter that, because if the Rangers can score, how they did versus the Astros, 10+ runs a game, I think you'll be okay. And we'll be fine.
They played us really well in the regular season. Obviously, we played 4 games. They took 3.
Yes, I did, and I also looked back at what was that team that we were working with. Who started those games? Who did we have? And you look at the roster now. It's a completely different team.
We didn't have Carter.
You didn't have Evaldi. You didn't have Montgomery. You didn't have Scherzer.
I don't think Scherzer pitched in that series. Yeah, it was very different teams. Kind of with Houston. Everyone's Houston. Will we beat y'all in September? Different team. Very different team.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at
actually Evaldi might have pitched in one of those games.
Their hitting core. We have the bigger stars: Simeon, Seager, Garcia. But they have. I mean, Moreno was a good hitter. Christian Walker has been just Christian Walker. 33 bombs. Ketel Marte is one of the anchors of that lineup. Geraldo, Perdomo can hit.
And Corbin Carroll.
Corbin Carroll can mash. Lourdes Gurriel's been mashing. Alec Thomas, some big, a couple big home runs.
Yeah.
Pavin Smith was not very good, but he can hit when he's.
Yeah.
He can. Jake McCarthy. Was that the team Jake McCarthy that we had? Hold on. I don't think so, but I'm going to laugh. No, I don't think so, but I'm going to laugh if it was. Where's his transactions? I don't believe. No, it's not. Because there was a Jake McCarthy that we signed in spring training. Is it the same guy? I mean, obviously Corbin Carroll, Evan Long. I mean, then they got the
Longoria
old pro
and
Evan Longoria and Tommy Pham, 2 big veteran presence. I mean, they have a good team.
They do.
And then their pitching core is just so nasty. Gallen, Kelly, Pfaadt. Then past Pfaadt, I'm fine with whoever they start there. If they go, I expect them to try to do a 4-man rotation. We'll see. Maybe they do 3-man, kind of like we have. Because everyone kind of goes to a 4-man, and our kind of 4th is the Heaney-Dunning pairing. Theirs is I don't know. I don't know who started the other games in the
It might have been
NLCS.
Kyle Nelson. I don't remember.
I don't remember. Sorry. My team was in the ALCS, so I wasn't paying attention. This is probably the least amount I've ever paid attention to an NLCS.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Sewald, Scott McGough, I mean, Kevin Ginkel has that nasty slider.
Oh, Ginkel looks fantastic.
Miguel Castro, Colin. I mean, their bullpen has played so well this postseason. And we'll see what the rosters look like. I could have just named a guy that was injured. But I'll tell you what makes me feel really good about our chances is this little number right here, the Pythagorean win-loss. And it's one of my favorite little nerd stats because it kind of shows what the team really is. We're actually a 96-win team. Just we only won 90. That's the Pythagorean for us. Their Pythagorean, they won 84 games. Their
While having more runs allowed than runs scored.
Their Pythagorean is 80 and 8. They are a below 500 team who has just gotten hot in the postseason.
Yeah.
And I think he's just played with that. We're playing with house money attitude. I feel really good about our chances to beat this team. But I'm not saying that we're not guaranteed anything.
Oh, of course not.
You know, you don't want to overlook a good opponent. That's one thing that, you learn. You definitely learn if you've played any type of team sports. You don't want to overlook a good opponent. And you don't want to overlook a team that's, you feel you're better than, but you just go, oh, well, we'll win because we should. Nope, that attitude never works. So I am just super excited about the Rangers.
Yeah.
Man, it's so nice. And next week will be, I think it's so games 1 and 2 off Sunday, 3, 4. So it'll be before game 5 if it doesn't end in a sweep. We'll be talking about that.
For either side, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, your Rangers, we are in the World Series. And, obviously maybe next week coming off of this season, we'll still talk about Rangers stuff. Just it'll be dialed down a lot until
Yeah, we'll kind of talk about maybe off-season moves, maybe some buys.
And
Cody Bellinger. Sorry.
Actually, one guy I want to get, Hector Neris. I would not mind signing.
Yeah.
He has a player option that he's going to decline.
Terrible in the postseason.
I don't care. I want to sign him.
Yeah.
Or bring him here. So we're going to move on to the Dallas Mavericks here. And, of course, we're not getting everything Rangers things. I probably could have talked about 100 things on the Rangers. But we're going to move to...
For y'all's sake, we're going to move to...
Yeah. We're going to move to the Dallas Mavericks. Want to know. They looked really good. Derek Lively looks like the dude. I mean, it looked like Lob City.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch. Luka with the dagger. You would have liked some other guys. You would have liked DJJ to play a little bit better. And because he was probably my favorite pickup. Besides Grant. I mean, him and Grant Williams, I'm like, man, DJJ is basically Reggie Bullock that can defend.
Well, I mean, Bullock was a fine defender.
He was, but I mean, they can defend better than Bullock.
Right.
But every time I watched, Bullock was just not very good. But I feel really good. There's still some concerns about the defense for me. And that's obviously going to be a concern the entire season.
Yeah.
But I think if we play like that, we got a good chance to be a really good team this year. But I want to know what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I was on a flight home for the first half from Colorado watching the game. So I wasn't able to, express some emotion watching the game on the flight. But no, I liked what I saw. There was a lot of adversity.
Yeah.
From this team, starting off really slow, poor defensively, but be able to not go away to go on, these quick 8-0 runs, 9-0 runs in like a span of a minute and get yourself back in the game. While also, having some inconsistency from outside the arc and still being able to put up 126 points, right? Kyrie was 1 for 8 from 3 while, he hit that 3 to pretty much ice it.
Yeah.
Luka 3 for 11, but Luka, obviously 33, 13, and 10 with a triple-double.
Triple-double.
I mean,
it's
Luka. I mean,
it was Luka game.
That's a bad game, right? For Luka standards. Luka gets, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, whatever. That's a bad game. But I love what I saw. Derek Lively looks like, we talked about this before, like what's a good comparison for Derek Lively? And Tyson Chandler came to my mind.
The man he worked with over the offseason, apparently. They talked about.
Oh, he's still working with him, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that Mavs looked really, really good.
Yeah, they did. And there's a lot to build on.
It's one game.
It's one game.
There's 81 more of these suckers to go.
Right.
And so you don't want to get too hyped. But it definitely lends to the Spurs are not going to probably be a playoff team. Although they looked good.
No, they look good, and they're
Wemby, obviously.
And the young talent, and the Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, who they just signed, to big contracts, who can score and give you 20 a game, which they did. They're a fun team to watch, but I don't expect them to be a playoff team for another 2-3 years.
I think Wemby's problem that he had, I want to talk about Wemby for a second. I think his problem was adjusting to the NBA. I think it's, different foul-wise and what you can and can't do. I think one of his problems, I remember the foul he had, he elbowed one of our guys in the neck, and the announcers were like, "Well, it's not really his fault because he's just so big and lanky that he's moving and he's hitting people in the head because he's just so dang tall."
Yeah.
And so I really felt like Wemby played well for a guy that, is just his first NBA game.
Yeah.
True regular season, this thing matters. I felt he played well. I'm excited. I mean, obviously, I think if people were expecting him to score 50, look like Wilt Chamberlain, no, give him a couple years maybe. But
here's a stat for Spurs fans or just Wemby fans in general. Something I saw is the stat line that Wemby had, right? 15, 5, and 2 on 6, or 15 points and 6 for 9 shooting. That's the same stat line that Tim Duncan had in his debut. 15 points, 6 to 9 shooting.
Right.
So I think it's just a cool stat when you look at, the greatest power forward ever. It takes time. You don't just become that guy immediately. And no one's LeBron. I hate the comparison that Wemby was a bigger prospect than LeBron because he's not. LeBron came into the league already a top 10 player.
Yeah.
Wemby is not yet.
No, and I think no one, and Zion, I think, had the best chance of anybody since LeBron, but injuries have slowed him down. And maybe if he could stay healthy, I think he'd be so much fun to watch.
Oh, of course.
Just healthy. But feel confident about the Mavs. Obviously, we'll dive more into them a little bit next week.
Of course, Well, more games going on.
When there's a few more games. But definitely hyped with what we saw from the Mavs. And now we're going to move to the wackiest part of the sports world, I think, over the past couple months, and that's the NFL.
Yeah.
Very weird, and I feel like we were talking about this it feels like right now that whatever we pick, I mean, we'd have a better chance of closing our eyes and writing and just circling a team, and we'd get more right. I mean, this week we both were not very good. I went 6-7. You went 3-10.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, and we both got burned on a couple. I mean, it was just, how do you pick this? Does anyone out there have any answers for us? Because, I mean, I'm trying to, like the Dolphins, Eagles, I'm trying to think, like, man, Vic Fangio versus their offensive guy, who would win that? I think Fangio would win, and I was wrong. And Niners, you think the Niners are going to be killers? No, they lose to the Vikings and the Browns without Deshaun Watson. Or did they have Deshaun?
No, it was PJ Walker.
PJ Walker.
Yeah.
So the Patriots look dead all season. Oh, look, we just beat the Bills. I mean, I don't know how to pick this. And so it's just, at this point, it's hard to give explanations because I feel like whatever we give, it doesn't matter.
Give me this team, that team, that team.
Yeah, give me that team.
Like,
so here we
go.
But we're going to do our best for you guys. Buccaneers at Bills.
And we were also talking about this pregame, like, okay, well, the Buccaneers, they've looked fine all season, and then the Patriots go in and just, they work the Bills.
I'm going to take the Bills in this one.
I am too.
All right.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about this game here for a second. This is going to be our Cowboys segment. Cowboys off the bye week, so not much Cowboys to talk about. No injuries. Wanya Thomas was the only guy that was injured. And I have to say, it's a little hard to... It's one of those, I'd probably be a lot more panicked about the Cowboys if the Rangers weren't doing so good. Like, it's at this point in the year, the Ranger season in like the first 3 days of October, Ranger season's over. And so now it's baseball playoffs. And as a baseball fan, I'm loving it. But my team, and now it's Stars, Mavs.
Yeah, it's like the first time since 2010 where the Mavs, Rangers, Stars, and Cowboys are all playing.
Because and I'm like, and I thought about that. I said, wait, 2011? Nope. Lockouts.
Yep.
The NBA had a lockout, and the NFL had a lockout. No, wait. Yeah, they did. They did have a lockout in 2011. So this is the first time since 2010 that all of our teams are. So it's hard to be super pumped or worried about the Cowboys when, and I hate saying the Rangers are my favorite team of all, because the baseball and football are my two favorite sports, and I refuse to pick one. But the Rangers were a little more prominent in my household than the Cowboys were.
Of course, yeah.
So it's a little more different and the Rangers have sucked and have been a laughingstock. The Cowboys are the Yankees of the NFL. So I feel confident going into this game. I mean, the Rams are a really good team.
They are.
And you have to respect that. But I really feel like no one's injured. We're healthy, except Trevon Diggs. We can, and I'm going to pick up the Cowboys in this game.
I am as well.
The Rams, again, good offense. I think we can take advantage of their defense. I'm hoping McCarthy had his best play calling day against the Chargers. After that first drive, he was fine. He was amazing.
Dak looked great.
So we're hoping that he can carry that into this week, and so we will see.
What I'm looking forward to in this game, which just give a little insight on what I'm thinking, is I feel like no worries. I think this is a game where you got to worry a lot about the pass game.
Yeah.
Puka
Kupp.
and Kupp.
Stafford's healthy.
But Kyron Williams, their guy they've been going to all year in the run game, he's on the IR. So you don't really know. You got Royce Freeman, Darrell Henderson, and Zach Evans. I'm not worried.
Question marks.
They're like, okay, well, let's hold them. Let's be ready for the run, but let's really focus on containing Kupp, containing Puka, and hope the offense puts in work. And I think the Cowboys have this game.
And I think where we win is how you beat our team is screens, quick passes, and running the ball. Well, they're not going to be able to run the ball too much. They're going to want to pass it. Yeah. So that opens up our pass rush game. How do you stop our pass rush? Well, we've seen the Chargers and the Niners figure out what they need to do. Quick passes and all of that. Well, the Rams are not a quick pass team. I mean, Kupp and Puka are more...
They have been more this year.
They have been a little more this year, but to me, they're more route runner, get open, let plays develop. That's what McVay likes, those complex plays that develop. He can run the quick game. We've seen him do it and be very successful at it. But it feels like with his personnel that he has, they're going to want to air it out more and more deep down the field and attack our safeties and Bland and Gilmore and all of that. Well, that's going to open up Micah and those guys. And so I really feel confident in our ability to win this football game.
Yeah.
Patriots at Dolphins. Look, the Pats look good, but they're still really hurt. Give me the Dolphins.
Give me the Dolphins.
Here we go. We got Jets at Giants. Give me the Jets. Give me Zach Wilson in this one. I know the Giants have looked better in the past couple weeks, but give me the Jets.
Well, the Giants have looked better because Daniel Jones has not been behind center. And he's back now, so give me the Jets.
Yeah. Jaguars at Steelers. It's a tough matchup. Because Cam Hayward's back, so I could.
It's Pitt at home.
Yeah.
Every time you go into Pitt, it's always a trap game.
And I feel like the Jags defense, just would have problems with but I'm going to take the Jags.
And this one we'll have a little bit of differences for the first time. I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Steelers, all right. Falcons at Titans. Titan season's over. Give me the Falcons. I'm sorry, they're shopping everybody. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, give me the Falcons.
Texans at Panthers. Battle of number 1 and 2 overall picks. Panthers, I think, are coming off the bye, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're correct.
So,
and are they due?
And so the Texans. I think they're both coming off bye weeks.
The Panthers due for their first one.
And the Panthers have a problem right now. They switched offensive play callers. Frank Reich's no longer calling plays. But give me the Texans. I really like this Texans team, and I think if they get hot, they could be a wild card team that gets bounced, but they could still be like, whoa, they made the playoffs.
Right.
So what do you think?
No, I love this Texans team too. I agree with everything you just said, but I think the Panthers are due coming off the bye week, so I'm gonna go with the Panthers.
And I love D'Amico Ryans. It was a great hire. Vikings at Packers. The Packers have not looked good, but it's their rival. It's at home. It's at Lambeau. Give me the Pack.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
Build off that win against the Steelers. Yeah. I mean, the Niners.
You beat the Niners. Why can't you beat the Packers?
Saints at Colts. Your man is still out. Give me the Saints. They've looked good, although Olave has been doing some not so great extracurricular activities.
But he's okay. He's ready.
I play for the Saints, and the cop goes, and? That was the greatest. It was so cool. But what do you?
You're forgetting the Colts coming off of a crazy 39-38 loss. They're without Anthony Richardson, they're proven to put up points. So give me the Saints.
You the Saints. All right. Eagles at Commanders. Oh, this would be so funny if the Commanders beat them again 2 years in a row. But unfortunately, the Eagles, and I have to say Jalen Hurts does not look as good as he has. And I think one thing about Hurts,
little injury though now.
I tell you what makes me so angry about and why people have asked, why do you want to go into broadcasting? Because you played a year. Why? I'm like, listen to some of these people talk, and you'll see why I want to go into it. Because I know now I feel I could do a better job than me and you could go on there. Screw LaShawn McCoy and whoever, Joy Taylor, is that her name? Whatever.
Whoever.
Acho is fine because he at least has really well thought out opinions. I may not agree with a lot of them, but he can at least say, I believe A, B, and that equals C, and that's, and you could follow his train of logic. And I don't think Hellman's on that show anymore, unfortunately. They kicked him off because he was the smart guy. McCoy and Taylor, me and you could do a better job than her. Me and you could do a better job than the two schmucks on Colin Cowherd's show, and Colin Cowherd is one of those. That is why I'm so... Because Dak Prescott throws an interception. Oh, my God, he's the worst quarterback. Hurts throws 3. Well...
It's bad performance, but he'll bounce back.
It's it's like, what? And plus, Acho will call him out when they do that, which I like.
Yeah.
It angers me so much that they do not call Jalen Hurts on his bullcrap. And it's why I'm so passionate. It's why I hated Carson Wentz so much. He's better than Dak. No, he's not. Never was, never will be. Same thing with Hurts. Oh, man, he's the best. I'm still not convinced he's completely better than Dak. He's won more. congratulations, you have an amazing roster, the better roster than we've had. Give you a little clap. I mean, that if you put Dak on that team, he'd win too. So I haven't seen it. It bothers me.
I'll go with the Eagles too.
Eagles. Sorry, I didn't ask what you thought, but I had to say that.
Yeah.
Browns at Seahawks.
Ooh.
This is one of those games. It's like, well, I'm gonna blindly just circle a team and we'll see. Give me. What do you think? I'm gonna go with you first.
I'm gonna go with the Browns.
You go with the Browns?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
Okay.
They're at home. I like Geno. I really love Geno Smith. Ravens at Cards. Give me the Ravens. I mean, they just completely shellacked
Dismantled
the Lions.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I mean, I got to take the Ravens too.
Ravens,
but I mean, don't be shocked. I mean, Cardinals were the same way when they came. Cowboys came off a good dominating win into Arizona, and well, we don't have to go any further.
I can go pencil in the Chiefs here. Chiefs Broncos. Should I just write the C down to the Chiefs?
Go ahead.
I mean, it's Bengals at Niners. That's a really good game, and it's going to be
I'm taking the Bengals because, I mean, Purdy might not be there, in concussion protocol. And not to mention, he's looked.
And they don't have Lance.
He's looked bad.
Guess who has Lance? We do.
He's looked a little off the last couple weeks.
I'm going to agree with you and say, but it could have been the concussion. I'm going to say Bengals.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you there.
Bengals off a bye week. Burrow got healthier.
And then I think the weirdest Sunday night football matchup here, Bears at Chargers. I'd like to know who thought this one was a good game to pick. But you know what? I picked them last week.
Do it again. Take the Bears.
Because you want to pick the Chargers.
Of course I am.
I'm going to pick the Bears.
All right, I'm going Chargers.
I like Tyson Bagent. And a quick little story, I was on a cruise over the summer. And because international waters, I could gamble. I was 18. And I was playing 3-card poker. And one of the guys with my grandparents, there was a guy that would play with us throughout the week. He was a really nice guy. And I can't remember if his son went there. I think it was his son or his daughter went to Shepherd or whatever. He was affiliated. He knew about the school and watched a lot of football games. And he was like, well, and he found out I love football. And I was like, yeah, you guys have, that's right. He was wearing a Shepherd shirt. That's what it was, or a hat. He had something on. And I was like, we struck up a conversation about it. And I said, yeah, you guys have a player in the draft. He's like, yeah, Tyson Bagent. He goes, man, he's going to be really good. He had so much conviction about this guy. He played D2. He's a really good quarterback. And he's like, I really hope someone really gives him a good chance to play. And he goes, that's why I kind of picked him. I'm like, I didn't say this at the last time. That's why I'm going with the Bears. I'm like, gatekeep my strategy because I was one that you didn't have. But I'm like, man, this guy, and he's looked pretty good. I think that D2 quarterback chip on the shoulder, really helps. You go Chargers. And then
I'm going to go Chargers. Yeah.
Monday Night Football, Raiders at Lions. I mean, Dan Campbell's going to bite some kneecaps off. I think
it's got to be a Lion bounce back game.
So that is your Week 8 schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great episode here. And we will see you guys next week. Hopefully, we're talking about the Rangers leading, or heck, maybe the Rangers have won the World Series.
Yeah.
It is very surreal. The last 2 days have been just rewatching the game. I think I've watched it by 15 20 times at this point. Today is kind of like, okay, now it's business. Yeah. And tomorrow it's all business tomorrow. And I'm super pumped and then obviously the Cowboys on Sunday. It's been really, I love how it's been Rangers off. Oh, look, the Cowboys. And then next week it would end on a Friday and Saturday. So no Cowboys game will be harmed, which is very good for me because none of my teams. That was the one weird thing was the Rangers played. Oh, what game was it? There was we played at one point. I don't think it was the wild card game. I think we played.
No, I remember it was the Rays.
It was the Rays.
It was game 2, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, there was. Yeah. No. There was a game Monday Night Football against the Chargers, and we had a game on Monday. Remember? We had a game on Monday. I think it was one of the ALCS games. Was it? Yeah.
No, it was game 2 because I went to game 1 in Houston, and we got back that night.
Game 2.
In the game 2, we won.
Okay, it was game 2.
And we got to sit back and relax and watch the Cowboys.
That's right. That was the one potential thing that could be a problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you guys next week. Or again, hopefully, we're announcing the Rangers are World Series champions, or the Rangers have a decided advantage.
Yes.
And could become the World Series champions. So we will talk to you guys next week.
Have a great week.
Yep.